Hello everyone, we have a Material UI React dashboard and it's for a crypto company. So let's see what's going on. We have an app bar and then we have this collapsing and expanding menu right here. And what you see here, as you can see, the transition is very smooth, so it's just not like a jerky effect. That's pretty nice. We've got the search bar right here, and here, oh, by the way, we have a ticker element, so we're going to create our own ticker element. We got these nice cards happening for these different bitcoins, and then we have a chart, pie chart, table, and you can buy and transfer bitcoin. Alright, the other cool thing this thing has is it's got the dark mode. So let's go to dark mode. I personally like the dark mode. I think it really looks good. I'm not sure about you guys, but yeah, that's pretty good. Now the other thing is this thing is fully responsive, so let me switch to mobile view. Alright, here we are. So as you can see, the menu is now disappeared. We can still bring it back, and the top bar now changed. And you can see the cars, they are nicely aligned, everything is where it should be. This thing changed, and we're, by the way, using the new grid 2 from Material UI. It's much better than the previous one. Well, that's what's called grid 2. And then also, if I look at the dark mode on the phone, looks fabulous. Yes, liking it. Alright, let's check this on a tablet now. Alright, here we are on an iPad Air. As you can see, same nice animation. I don't know if I should get rid of this, but I'll just leave it. We'll switch to dark mode. As you can see, all the cars are nicely laid out. Everything is beautiful. So I hope I have you people excited, and we're just gonna jump right in and get started. Alright, so let's start from the beginning. What I have is a blank React project that you create with npx create React app. So nothing special here, and as you can see, my package.json is just whatever you get with the React. So we're gonna install some dependencies to get them out of the way. I hope the font size is big enough because I always get this complaint. So let's start with the npm install, and I will install emotion React, then emotion styled emotion, and what else do we have? I think that's it for emotion. And then we're going to install the Roboto. So if you want to use this font, you have to install it. That's what the documentation says on Material UI. And MUI, we'll be using the icons dash material. And what else? MUI is itself. And okay, and I need to install Apex charts because we'll be using the charts. And what else? I think that is pretty much it. Alright, I got an error because it should be Roboto. Alright, and one thing else I think I would install is called Polished. I forgot to do that. And I've used this before, but I'll show you guys how to use it. When it's just to lighten or darken the colors, so very handy. I find this. Alright, so with this stuff out of the way, we're gonna close this and let's start with app.js. Now I'm going to basically get rid of everything right here, and what we can do is come over here, delete that as well, so we just have a blank app happening. Okay, so what do we do? Well, let's create a box because we want to encapsulate everything in a box. And if I save right now, refresh it, it's compiling. Alright, so that took a while for some reason, I don't know why. Anyway, so what we want to do is we want to have the everything in a nice column, so it's kind of like stacked on top of each other. And I'll be making a lot of SX props changes, So you guys will see it's very powerful, so I would highly recommend doing it. Alright, so we're going to say a display of flex, and the other thing I'll do is I'll say flex direction is column. Alright, like so. Alright, so I'm gonna bring this on next line so we can see it. Actually, I should hide this. Alright, and I need to delete that. Alright, so what do we put inside the here? So the one thing I'll do is I'll add the CSS baseline. This comes from Material UI, and it just basically gives you a nice clean starting point with your CSS. So I would do that. Alright, so now that we have that, so what we can do is we can start with our app bar and work that way. Alright, so I'll come here and we will create a new folder called components, and this is where we'll stick all our components. And so what I will do is I'll come here and I will basically start adding my app bar here. So in the components, I will come here and I'll say primary appbar.js. Alright, and what do we do here? Well, we just start writing code. Alrighty, I'm gonna minimize this, and what we'll say export default function, say primary app bar, and like so, and then I'll do return, and let's just for now say I don't know, h1 app bar, so that we can use it here in my app.js, and I'll say primary app bar, and there you go. Alright, so I don't need this anymore. I'm just gonna make a lot of changes here. Alright, so what do we do here? Well, I want to get a hold of the theme first, because we'll be making some you know, if we were to switch the dark and light mode, and we have to get the colors and all, so that's what we need that. Now it always brings it from eMotion React, but what I want to have it bring it from, it should actually bring from, Material UI, and that's Material Styles. That's the one I want. Okay, and I'm going to do that. Alright, so now before we go any further, I think maybe what we can do is start creating our styles, define our theme, and then we can utilize it. So I can come here, and for that, honestly, I'll just come here and create a new folder. We'll call it styles, and within that we can shove our stuff. So the first thing I'll do is I'll say colors.js, and the next one I want to put here is theme.js. Alright, so inside of colors, I am not going to type them. These are just color values that I picked for this this project. So all you do is just define your primary, the light color, the dark color, secondary, and then the rest if you want to use. And the other thing I just did is I have solid color, and within that I have basically for the Bitcoin different Ethereum, Ripple, and Black coin. So that's very straightforward. I'm going to close that, and then we have the theme. Now within the theme, I'm going to import those colors like that. Actually, no, I want colors like that. Alright, so what do we do is we're going to create a palette. So I'll say export const palette. Alright, and this is where we're going to define our primary and secondary color. And there's a reason why I'm doing it this way. I'll explain to you when I'm using it, so you will see. And it's just all because for changing the dark mode and the light mode. Alright, so I'll say colors.primary, and then we'll say dark is colors dark primary dark. I'll just type it. Alright, I have that, and then I have my secondary, and then I'll just do simple color.secondary, and dark I'll do colors.secondary dark. Alright, That looks good. Alright, and then we're gonna have our app team. Again, it's just an object. Alright, so we're gonna have some components. Okay, so I'm gonna be just for the app bar, usually has a shadow. So I want to remove that. I don't like that. So I can do MUI app bar, and that's how you can customize your material UI at your theme level, not at individual you know, components. So I'll say style overrides. Alright, and then I'll say root, and we'll say box shadow none. So this will get rid of the shadow. I'll put it show you guys how it's used. Alright, so let's do that, and then I can do export default app theme like that. So this should take care of that. Now how do we use this? So if I come here, I'm gonna just use it where my main app.js is, and what I can do is where I have the theme. So you know what, let's put this inside of these parentheses or brackets, whatever, and I'll say theme provider. Okay, and like so. So if you have watched my previous videos, you know we do this to provide a theme. Now, so this won't do anything in itself, so of course we need to provide the theme to it. Alright, so how do we do this? Well, we come here and we can say const theme is equal to create theme. Okay, so that's a function that we get from Material UI, and what we do is we say for the palette, right, we want to take the palette that we created, not the Material UI one. So it should have here, right here, this one, and then what we want to do is basically the app theme that we created, right? So if you remember the app theme we created here, so we take this, spread it, and then the palette we spread that. And as I said, we are doing this separately because when I do it this way, then I can easily add the light mode and dark mode. You guys will see that when we do it. Alright, so the final thing we do is then we come here and we say theme equals theme, like that, so we can use our theme. So why don't we create a button? Alright, let's call it test. So as you can see, let's say variant content, and there you go. So that's our theme colors working. If I didn't do that, then well, of course it's gonna crap out. So but anyways, I'm gonna remove that. So that's your standard Material UI color. So we're changing that, and that's how you change your theme. Alright, so I'm gonna get rid of this button, and now we can go to the app bar and start working on that. Alright, so I'm in the app bar, and what I want to do is I want to start adding right here. I'm gonna get rid of this, and let's create a box. There'll be a lot of boxes, guys. Alright, and then what we will do is we will create an app bar style. So all these styles, I'll just put it right here. We're not gonna put it elsewhere, so that everything is nice and contained. This is just different styles. I have got questions in the past where people are saying, well, why are you putting it in a separate styles file or this or that? So this is just another way of doing it, where you can just keep the styles and the component in the same file. So we'll do it this way. So we'll say app bar is equal to styled. Now this is from Material UI. I think it's from Material UI systems, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, styles. So that's where we get that. So we inherit from the MUI app bar. It didn't bring that in, so we're gonna bring that manually. So I'll say import MUI app bar from at Material UI material app bar, like so. So there you go, that's your that. And then what do we do with it? Well, then you can come here, and then you can, you have access to your theme. So that's what you can use here. Alright, so once I have that, then what we want to do is I'm going to change the Z index, and that's what I was saying. You can go into theme dot and you can say Z index dot drawer. So these are basically standard Z indexes within Material UI. So I'm just using those, and I'm just adding one to it so that's always at the top. Alright, and then we're going to add transitions for it when it opens and closes. So I will have to pass in a basically a variable that when we click on the button right here, it will toggle the open and close. So alright, so what do you do with the transition? So I can say transition, yeah, and I can say theme dot transitions, right, and I'll say create. So we're saying create a transition, and what we want to affect, well, we want to affect the width and margin like that. Okay, and then we're gonna define some properties. So we'll say easing, and I'll say theme dot transitions dot easing dot sharp, and how long it's gonna be, well, give it to me. The theme dot transitions dot duration dot leaving screen. So all these are, by the way, in the Material UI. It's not something I added, so it's already defined for us. I'm just using them. And if you've watched my other video, I'll just put a link in the description where I show how to do animation with Material UI. That's another way of doing it, but this is using the core Material UI basically. Alright, so then when we open the drawer, what we want to do, we want something to have happen. Okay, and then what we want to do is we give it a margin left of whatever the drawer width is, right? Because when I open the drawer, then I want this to shift. So what we can do is maybe we can define the drawer width. So I'll say const drawer width, and let's say it's 240 pixel. Alright, so then I'll say drawer width like so. Okay, and what should be the width? Well, we're gonna do a calc function, and we'll say 100% minus drawer width. Okay, and px. Okay, so the margin left will be when we open it, when we click on the icon, what you will see in the menu bar, when we click it, this will open the drawer, and then we want to shift this by that much, you can say the width, and then we also want to change the width of it because we want to become shorter. So it's 100% minus whatever the width of the drawer is. So that's that. And then we also want to affect we also want to make it a smooth transition. So that's why we're going to do a transition, and basically it will be pretty much the same as what we did here. So I can come here and let's see, I can basically just copy this and paste it here. The only difference is because this will be entering screen, because the drawer is entering, so that's why we're going to do it like this. Alright, so with that done, then I can come here and save this, and then I have my Appbar, so we can start using it. So I'll do Appbar like so, and we'll say Appbar. Alright, and it's going to have a position of fixed because you want to stay on the top, so that's what we'll do, fixed. And then open, let's for now just do true, and let's save it. Nothing is going to happen because we haven't put anything inside of it, so we're going to do that shortly. Alright, so I'm going to put a toolbar. Okay, that's for Material UI, and then we want to put an icon button. Okay, and what we want to have inside of it is a menu icon. Now where do you get this menu icon? You can get this from Material UI icons. So if I come here, I can say material UI icons and material icons, and then you just come here and search menu icon, menu icon, menu icon right here, the hamburger. Okay, I'm gonna put that here, and there you go, that's my menu icon. So let's save it, and there you go, you got your hamburger icon. Now the thing is, if I do this false, so you see how it went back. So that's what I was talking about. So that means the drawer is open and the drawer is closed, like so. Alright, so now the other thing we need to do is I want to change the icon button a bit. So the one thing I will do is let's give it a color, and let's just say it's gonna inherit this. Okay, so that fixes that. And the other thing I want to do is let's make it a bit large. Okay, didn't do anything but just shifted. And then other thing I want to do, by the way, is I want to have it on the starting edge, like so. Alright, so that works. Okay, and then otherwise I think we can also give it a little bit of margin. So we can just do a little bit of SX prop, so I can say margin right. So this is we're going to be putting some text beside it, so to make sure we have enough space. And now the other thing I want to do is when we open the drawer, I want this to disappear. So for example, false and none. Well, actually should be true. Right, so that's when the drawer is open, this will disappear. Right, so for now I'm just going to have it false, but we will create a we'll have a state for this, and that we can then use it. So talking about state, why don't we go ahead and do that. Alright, so one thing we can do is we can create a local state here, just so that we can see this thing in action. And then once we create a state for the entire app, then we can utilize that. So I'll say drawer set drawer use state. Okay, let's say initially it is the drawer is not open. Alright, so then I can come here and I can say drawer, same here, I'll do drawer. Alright, so that's that. So if I switch this to true, then that's what happens. One thing is I won't be able to see the icon, but I guess we'll fix that. Alright, so that's that. So now let's add the other icons, and you know, so we can see them. But before I do that, I'm going to just add a click handler, and the purpose of this will be is when we click it, we can dispatch some event to trigger the drawer. Okay, so but for now, since you don't have that, then I'll just do set drawer. So we take the current state, okay, and we just flip it. That's all we do. So if I come here, I do this, it's going to disappear, and you can see the sliding thing happen. So just want to show you that this is working. Alright, so then what do we do after that? Well, I want to add a title after that, after my icon button. And the way we can do this is we can use typography, typography, and let's put in React MUI dashboard. Here we go, looks ugly, but we'll fix it. Alright, so I want to give it a variant of its 6. Alright, so this is a pretty, I guess, boring font, and I think we need to change it. Alright, so what I did is I went ahead, I'll show you how to by the way use custom fonts. So if you go to Google fonts, and this is where you can find, let's see, this is where you can find, I'm sure you guys know this by now, I don't have to explain this, you can find all the fonts. So I found the font that I liked, and it's called Play. And let's see, I think it was this one. That's right. So that's the one I liked. And then what I did is I basically just took the link thingy, copied it, and then I pasted it inside. Where did it go? First I need to copy this, and I'm gonna come here. Alright, so I went ahead in my public index.html, and you can paste it. Alright, so right here I'm gonna paste it, and while I'm here I think I'm going to get rid of this React thing. I'll say crypto dashboard, like so. So that should, there you go, that got changed. If I hit F12, and then if I just come here to my elements, and if I go to head, there you go. So that's my font. So now we can use it. I think I should move this over a bit, right? Or minimize it, I don't know. Alright, so now I can actually close this, and then I go to my app bar, and this is where we can start using the font that we saw. So I can say right here sx is equal to, and we'll say font family is autocomplete, and so we'll say play, and if that one is not available, then we just go with the sans serif. So there you go, that changed. And I want this to grow all the way, so I'll say flex grow of 1. And the other thing I want to do is I want to hide this on small screens, so we can use display. And here's a cool trick. You can say on small screen none, and you can say on anything above that, basically you just do block. So what that means is if I come here, and if I go small, ding, disappears, appears. So very neat trick. I like this. I love this. It's pretty powerful. Alright, so now that we have that, then what we can do is we can start adding the icons, like the search icon and this and that. And the way we can do this is I can come over here, and I can create a component for it. So I can say const search. So the thing is, I have the search bar, and within that it expands and collapses. I mean, it doesn't collapse, but it kind of shrinks and expands based on when you click on it. So that's why it will be easier if we can just create a separate component for it. So I'll say search. Wow, man. Alright, and I'll say styled. This is going to be out of a div. Alright, and then what we do is we pass in a theme. Alright, and what you do is just our regular style, how we create this. Alright, so it's going to have a position of relative. Okay, and then we want to give it a border radius. Okay, so then we'll say theme dot shape dot search bar. Now you must be like, where the heck is that? I'll show you. Border radius, right? So you must be thinking, well, what the hell is this border blah blah radius? So this is where the theme thing comes in. It's very powerful. You can add it right here. So if I come here to my components, and then I can say shape. Okay, and what shape? The search bar. Alright, and then what property? Border radius. I'm just gonna set it to 50. So that way, if you have different themes and you want to quickly change them, you can just do it here and dynamically load the theme that way. Alright, so that will take care of that. Say border radius, and then the other thing I want to do is I want to just give it some background color. So I'll say background color. Alright, and what we want to do is I will do, so let's do colors. That's the colors we create for our theme. Colors.white, and then on hover. So this is how you can do hover with Material UI styled. Then I want to change the background color to different color. So let's say we'll just do primary. Alright, so the one thing I will actually quickly do here is start using this so we can see this in action. Alright, so right after the typography I'll do search, okay, like so, and then let's save it. So currently nothing is happening because I think we don't have any width on it, so we need to go and fix that. So we can come here and right after the hover I can say a width of 100%. Alright, there you go, something happened, and as you can see there's still nothing. Alright, and what else do we do? Well, we need to put our search, the input, everything inside. So this is just a container, you can say, for it. And then what we want to do is we're gonna hide and show this based on the screen. So I'll start with a display of none, means it's hidden, right? And then we can say theme dot breakpoints dot up. So anything that where the screen size is above small, then we are going to show this. So we'll say display of block, and then we'll just give it some margin left, and we'll just do theme dot spacing of 1, and let's just give it a width of auto. Alrighty, so let's see. So nothing will happen right now because we don't have anything inside, but we'll see that. Now the one thing I would like to change is, so there's something, the alpha property you can use, and that way you can affect the color, brightness, or you know, saturation, I guess, I don't know. And that comes from the material UI style, so I'll say alpha, like so, and then I can come here and I can say alpha, alright, and we'll say 0.15. I'm going to save it. Now what happened, I think I need to, there you go. Alright, and then when I hover over it, what I want to do is I'm going to change the alpha value to 0.25. Alright, so that should take care of that. So now let's put something inside of it, and then so that we can see what the heck is going on. Alright, so we need that search icon within it. So right here within the search. So we're going to create a wrapper for it, like a container. So I can come here and I can say const search icon wrapper. Okay, again it's a div, and then whoops, and what do we do? Well, pass in the theme. Alright, so what we want to do is I'm gonna have it a position of absolute. That's why this thing is relative, because that's the parent. Alright, and then I'm gonna give it a height of 100%, and then I'm gonna give it a padding, some padding, and then we'll say theme dot spacing, and you can specify. There's so many like different values, top, bottom, right, left, whatever you can do. So I'm going to specify them here, and then let's use it here, right here. So I can say search icon wrapper, like that. Okay, and so far we don't have anything because we need to use the search icon. So I can come here from material UI, search icon, let's see, search, there you go. So I think we can use this one, go back to the top, and where my other icon, I can put that. I can say search icon, like so, and let's save it. Alright, let's see. So as you can see, it's right in that corner. You see that corner? We need to fix that. It's currently in a weird position. Alright, so we're gonna actually go to the search icon wrapper and see if we can fix it. It's right here. Alright, so we got the height, we got the position, and then let's give it a display of flex. Okay, and then we will say align, align items center, and then finally we'll say justify content center. Okay, and then finally let's remove the pointer events. You don't want any pointer events. Alright, so now the other thing we need is for that actual input where people can type in the search stuff. So we can create that. So I can say const styled search input base. Okay, and then we actually, yeah, and we can say styled, and this will be input base. So this is coming from Material UI. Input base is like the base input, in case you want to customize it, which is what we are doing. And then I can say, you can say color inherit. Alright, so let's use it. Input base was not defined. Is that what it is? Yep. Alright, so we can say import input base from at Material UI material input base. Sometimes the auto import works, sometimes it doesn't. Not sure. Alright, so this is gonna go inside the search input input. Here we go. Style search input base. That's the one we created. Alright, so there you go. So now you can see the everything is coming along. Alright, so now what we need to do is, as you can see, the things we need to fix this however I want this to expand, but it should be like small when nothing is happening. So we're gonna fix that. Alright, so let's target. There's a class that you can target. So if I right click on it, I say inspect, and muy input base input, that's the class we want to target. So you can actually, there's a lot of ways you can customize CSS styles on an element in Material UI, and that's another way of doing it, where you can just take the class directly and customize it that way. So again, another powerful technique. So I'll say and then you do the class name. I'll just paste it, I copy it from there, and then I can say padding, right, spacing, and we can say top, left, right. I forgot the order, but it's one of those. So there you go. That changed the padding a little bit. And then what we can do is we can say padding left. Okay, and we can use a calc for this. Alright, and we can say 1em plus theme dot spacing of 4. Okay, so there you go. That's your padding left. Okay, and then we want to create a transition on the width. So how we did before, this is exactly the same. We'll say theme dot transition dot create. You create a transition first on what? On the width. And then what we want to do is initially give it a width of 100%. Alright, so well, how do we actually do that? Well, first of all, we also need to take care of the, what do you call it, well, on mobile device, because currently if I, for example, go small screen, you can see, well, it disappears, but I mean, yeah, we need to fix that. Alright, so if I come here, then I can say theme dot breakpoints dot up small, and what we can say width will be 18 characters. Okay, and then and so when it gets focus, we want to increase the width to, let's say, 24 characters. Okay, so let's see. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what the transition is working, is changing the width. So when we get focus, and this is only happening on anything that's above small screen, so medium, large, extra large. And then as you can see on mobile devices, we're hiding this thing because we're going to have this just a search icon appear. So that is pretty nifty, I think. Alright, so that takes care of your whatchamacallit, your search icon, and then we can add the now other icons. But the other thing I would like to do is when I go on small screens, as you can see currently the search icon is not there. The whole thing disappears, but I would like to have the search icon, so let's take care of that. Alright, so for that what I'll do is I'll come here, I'll create a box. Alright, and let's give it some SX procs. Whoa, should be inside. Okay, so I'll say SX like we have been doing. Alright, so what I will do is I'll say I'm gonna change the width. Okay, and I'll say on extra small I wanna just have it 100%, but on medium I'm just gonna have it in 10%. So basically I guess medium and above. And then the other thing we can do is we can say display of flex, and then justify content. We can say, whoa, don't need that, space, evenly, and I keep putting that comma. Alright, and then align items, I can say center. Alright, so as you can see, things kind of shifted, but don't worry about it, we'll fix it. Alright, so I need to do the query, and this is where we brought in, I'm not mistaken, that theme. So now we can actually use it. So I can say that const, and we'll say matches. Okay, and we'll say use media. So this is a function that I get, well, not a function, a hook that is provided by Material UI, and we can say we can give it a breakpoint. Theme.breakpoint.down small. So if we are anything below small, then this will be true, right? So then we can use it. So I can come back here within that box, and I can say if matches, oh, I need to do the curlies. If matches, then we do just the search icon. Alright, so let's see. There you go, so that's working. The only problem is now we kind of destroyed that, so we're gonna fix that shortly. Alright, so let's add the other icons actually while we are at it. So the others are I'm just gonna copy them from my notes, but you can find them the way I showed you on the Material Icons website. And these are the notifications icon, account circle icon, and the settings icon. So I can go back to where I was putting my icons, and they're right here, and then we can start adding. So I can say notification, I think that's the one icon. Alright, then the account circle icon. Okay, and finally the settings icon. Okay, so there you go, you got your icon. So if I actually now, there you go, so this is on the large desktop, I get this on a tablet. So actually what you can do is on a tablet, maybe you can hide this if you so want. And if I go to now mobile, then there you go, beautiful. So that's where this width is working for us right here. Pretty neat. Alright, so now that I have that, the other thing I want is this to be a button, so we can switch the mode, light and dark mode. So what I can do is I can come here and I can say icons, icon button. Okay, and I could put this inside of it. Okay, so this is a button now. Alright, and then what I want to do is I will say icon button on click, Okay, and we want to show a menu so that when you click on it, and you know, it shows the thing menu. But before I do that, I see that the color got messed up, so maybe I can do color. Will that work? There you go. So that works. Alright, so before I do that, let's create a menu for it, and then we can see how we can anchor that to that spot. Alright, so I can say menu material, and let's give it an ID. We'll say settings menu, and then so it's gonna have an anchor element. Okay, and that's how you basically turn the menu on and off. So we need to create that, so I'm just going to add it here, and then when do you want to open it? Well, when we have a proper anchor element. So in case you don't know the double bang, that's JavaScript way of saying, I think, make something true or false. So, and then on close, we want to call some function. For now, I'll just do like this, and then I can close the menu like that. Oh, I got an error, so we need to create the anchor element. Alright, now so we can come up here to the top, and let's see if we can fix this. So I can come here and I can say const anchor element set element, and let's just set it to null initially, and then we can come here, then I can say when I click it, anchor element to null. Okay, so that will do that. Of course, the we won't show the menu because we need to somehow trigger this. So the way we're going to do this is when we click on the icon button right here. So what I can do, I can say on click. I click a click handler when this is clicked. So we get this event object, and then we can say set anchor element. We can say e.current target. Alrighty, let's see. Beautiful, that works. But there's nothing in the menu, so we need to add something to the menu. So I can say then here menu item. Okay, we can create a form group like so, and then let's create a form group label. If I can form, actually it's called form control label. Alright, and so what do we want to put inside here? Well, we want to say the control is going to be a switch, right? So a switch, there you go, and then we want to have some click handler with it, which we will decide later. And then you want to give this label form control a label, so we can say, let's just say for now dark. Alright, so let's see what do we get. Okay, so we get this nice toggle switch. Alright, so now what will happen when this is clicked? We need to switch the theme. So since currently we don't have anything, we don't have the state yet, which we're going to do in the next video. So for now we can just come here and we can say on click. We will just do console switch theme. Actually, you know what I'm thinking, we can create a state and then we can use that. So let me undo that like so. Right, I'm gonna go up. I know there's gonna be an error, just ignore it for now. But I can come here and I can say const theme set theme. Actually, I already have theme, so I'll say theme switch theme mode, and we say set theme mode to use state. So let's just say for now it is light. Okay, and then I can come here and label. So if one label is, so let's see, if we do theme, if theme mode is light, then we do light, otherwise we do dark. That's one thing. Now we need something to trigger it. So the way we're going to do this, we can say switch theme mode. Now of course we don't have this function, so we're gonna come up here and we can implement it. So we can say const switch theme, switch theme mode, and so this should get rid of the error. And then what we can do is we can say set theme mode, and we can say, so if current, so this will give us the current mode. So if current mode is light, then we change it to dark, otherwise we will just have it light. Okay, so let's see, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. So that works. Alright, so now let's create the app state, so we can toggle the drawer, and then at the same time we can switch the theme from light to dark. So I'll come over here and we'll create a new folder. We'll call it state, and then within that I'll just create a new file. Maybe we'll call appstate.js. Alright, so I'll come over here and I'll say function app state. Okay, and you pass in your children, or whatever it encapsulates, right? Alright, so what do we have here? I'm going to create a state. Okay, and we'll create a dispatch. So this is going to be a reducer, and we will say use reducer, like so. Alright, so let me close this. Alright, so what do we know? Well, what do we need? We need a reducer and we need an initial state. So why don't we go ahead and create that. So I'll say const initial state. Alright, so we'll say theme, and we'll say light, and we'll say drawer. Initially we'll say it is open. Sorry, close. So then what do we do after that is we create our reducer. So we'll say function reducer. Alright, so it takes a state and an action, so that based on the action we will return a new state. So I'll say switch, and we'll say action type. Alright, so if it's a drawer, then what do we do? Well, we say return, take the current state, basically spread it, and we say drawer is equal to not state dot drawer. So if it's open, it will close it. If it's closed, it will open it. That's essentially what we're doing. And then the other thing I'll do is I'll say theme switch. So this is when we want to switch the theme. I should actually call it mode switch, but we'll just leave it at that. And we'll say state, spread it. Alright, so what do we do here? We'll say if state.theme is light, okay, then we want to change it to dark. Otherwise, if it's dark, then we want to change it to light. Okay, and then finally, if it's outside of any of these cases, then you just throw an error. You should never get here, but just in case. Alright, so with that, now we can come here and I can say my reducer, and I can say initial state, like so. Alright, so the other thing is we can, well, now we need to kind of expose this to the outside world. So you can say state dispatch. Okay, and what you do is from this function we can return an app context app provider. But what is app context app provider? Well, we don't have it, so we should create it. So I can actually just minimize these, and what I can do is I can come here and I can say const app state context is equal to create context. like so. So it's going to be an empty object, and then we can create a hook. So we'll say export const use app state is equal to use context. Okay, and what context? App state context. Then what you can do, you can say app state context dot provider, and what we're providing, well, the value which will be the state in the dispatch, and any children will be rendered here. Alright, so now let's use it. So the way we use it is we can go over to our app.js, and so what I'll do is I will basically wrap this, let's see, Appstate. You know what, I forgot to export that out. Yep, export default, we'll say app state. Alright, so that's that, and then I'm going to save this. Then I can come here and let's see if we can pull it. App state, there you go. So you take everything and you bring it here. So let's see if I save it, no errors. Let's refresh, make sure, and let's look at console. Cool, so that's working. So now we can tie this into our primary app bar and see how we can toggle it there. So I come here and we can, so if you guys remember, we created this drawer and the theme thingy here, so now we can get rid of that and start using our app state. So I can say const state, and then you can set dispatch, and I can say use app state, like so. Alright, and then I can get rid of this this one, and I can get rid of that. Alright, so then here I can say state dot drawer. Okay, that's one. The other thing is right here, I can say state dot drawer. Okay, whoa, and because we got rid of the local state thingy. And finally there was another one, it'll be right here where we can say, actually we already have a function, so let's see if we can use that. So we can say dispatch, and what we want to dispatch, we will say type is equal to theme switch. Alright, so we got error on line number 99. Okay, set drawer. Okay, so this one we need to do is dispatch, type is drawer. Okay, what else? Line number 156. Theme mode. Okay, so this should be state theme. There we go. So let's see this. There you go. So that's working. Of course, we're gonna, when we do the sidebar, we're gonna have a button to pull, or I guess close this. Alright, so now actually let's change the theme. Why don't we work on that? So that we can test the light and dark mode thingy in action. Alright, so I can come here and I can do that here. So the first thing I'll do is I'll say const, say mode, set mode. We're doing this at the very, very top level of the app state. And let's say the starting theme is light. Alright, so then the other thing we can do is we can say const color mode, use memo. We're just going to use memo to memoize it. And then we can do toggle mode. Okay, it's a function, and all it does is it just sets the mode. So we'll say set mode. Alright, so previous mode. Okay, and if we say if previous mode is light, then you want to change it to dark, otherwise it will be light. Okay, That's that. And then the other thing we want to do is by the way, it's we are using this use memo, so of course you have to give it the dependencies thingy, so we can specify that with an empty array so that we don't have any dependencies. Alright, and then finally I can come here. So remember how we did the create theme? So what I can do is now I can come here and I'm spreading this, so I can say mode is mode. Okay, I can save that. Now what's the color mode? So we need to use that, and the way we can do this is, so we know we're toggling the light and dark mode from here, so we can pass in a function or this toggle mode thingy so that we can call it from here inside of the primary app bar and switch it. So I'll show you guys. So inside the primary app bar I will say switch color mode, and what do we pass to it? Color mode dot toggle mode. Okay, but what the heck is switch color mode? So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go on my primary app bar and I can just say like that, switch color mode, and then what I can do is I can say switch color mode, and we can pass in the theme. Okay, so we need to create a local, I guess, because it doesn't know what theme we're talking about, so I guess we should create a local variable just to make sure we're toggling this on and off. So you can say const theme mode switch, set theme mode switch, and you can say use state false, and then you can say theme mode switch like so. Alright, now the other thing is we need to toggle this, and that happens when we toggle this checkbox, this switch, sorry. Alright, so right here is where we can do it. So we'll say checked is equal to theme mode switch. That's what it is. So depending on if it's true or false, then we can do that. And then when we click it, then of course, as you said, well, as you saw, we are calling this, and what we can do is, let's see, so the way I think we should do it is like this. We'll create a use effect, and that use effect is gonna watch this theme mode switch, and then I'll take all of this and just put it in here, and that's it. And so basically what we're saying is every time we toggle this, we're switching the theme, so this use effect will get triggered, and that's going to dispatch the app-wide theme switch function, or sort of reducer, and then at the same time we can just keep a variable locally to keep track of it. And then what I can come here, instead of this, right, that we did, I can say set theme switch mode, so take the current mode and then just flip it. Alright, so we got an error, looks like switch color mode is not a function. Switch color mode. Alright, let's see, line number 86. Switch color mode. Switch color mode is a function. So let me, okay, let's go back. Oh, I didn't save this file, so it doesn't know. There you go. So let me refresh. Alright, there you go. So there you go. Now your light and dark theme is, let's go light. Beautiful. Alright. So now you must be thinking why I am doing it this way. The problem is, the thing is, say that I need to keep because this is supplying the theme to the entire app, and see, I'm wrapping this right here. So that's why I need to do it outside of this so I can keep track of it. And then I'm creating the theme and then supplying it to the entire app. And then we also, because the app state, is wrapping the entire app except this app. So that's why I need to do it, keep track of it inside the primary app bar. And then also so that when I toggle this, it toggle this, which will then change the theme, and then we can it gets reflected everywhere. So basically you can change it from anywhere you want. Beautiful. Alright, so now with that done, we can move on to the next item. Alright, so now that we're done with the app bar, then we can start adding the drawer. So now Material UI in itself has a lot of great examples, so you don't have to read out the whole thing over and over again. So I'll show you guys how we can take an example from them and modify it to our needs. So the first thing we have to do is come here in the components. We'll create a new file and I will call it appdrawer.js, like so. And then what I can do is, so come here to Material UI, then come here and click under the navigation, click on drawer, and then the one I want is the, let's see, the mini variant. That's the one I want. I think it looks great. So you can click on the code icon, and what you can do actually is just copy the whole thing, and then I will paste it here. Alright, so now comes with a lot of this stuff that we don't need. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Actually, I'll just get rid of all of that, and we'll be modifying this to our own taste. And then let's just say I'm gonna call this app drawer, like so. And what else can we do? Alright, so this one has a toolbar. I think I don't need that, so I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna get rid of the CSS baseline, and I think that's, so this function is not used, so we're gonna get rid of that. What else can we remove from here? I think we can remove that. We can remove this, the menu icon. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So we're gonna pretty much get rid of all of that. Alright, so then I'm gonna come here to my app.js, and then what I can do is I can use it here. So I'll come here and I will say app drawer. Alright, so we're gonna go back to our front and let's see. Oh, there you go. Okay, so it's showing up, but now the thing is it's not expanding or collapsing, so I guess we need to fix that. And since we have created that state, so we can use that state here. I think what they're doing is they were using that toolbar, that app bar, everything. I'm gonna get rid of that. Also, we don't need that. Anything else? I think that's it. Okay, so yeah, they're using the open set open. So what I can do is I can say const state and dispatch, and we can say use app state, like so. Alright, and then what I can do is I can get rid of this. Alright, so that's gonna throw a lot of errors, so we're gonna fix that. I'm going to maximize this so that we can see what the hell is going on. Alright, so alright, here we go. So icon, button, handle, drawer, close. So what I can do is icon, button on click, we can do a dispatch to our reducer, and we can say type is drawer. So that should take care of that. And oh, and then this open should be state dot open. Let's save it. Still got errors. And what else? What else? Let's see. Set open is not defined. Line number 73. Line number 73. Oh, okay. I don't need that. I'm gonna get rid of that. What else? Line number 87. Line number 87. Okay, so I can say state dot open. So yeah, sometimes you just have to pick, if you take someone else's code, so you have to just know or understand or whatever, figure out how to add your code. But as you can see, the effort is very little. Let me see if we got everything. I think we got everything. Let me refresh. Alright, so there you go. So I mean, at least the button is working, but now the problem we're having is the drawer is not expanding. So let's see why. Alright, so why is that happening? So what they have is a drawer, and then there's a drawer header. Alright, so one thing I just realized is in our state, if we look, let's see, where did it go? Right here. Yeah, state.drawer is not open. I think we need to fix that. So it should be state.drawer. Okay, and then I think I have to do this everywhere, or I have this thingy. I think I don't need this bottom list, so I'm gonna get rid of this one. So this list and drawer, that's the bottom one, I don't need it. Alright, let me search for open. Do I have another open? Should be dot open. No, I think we're good. Alright, so now let's save it. Oh, Appstate. What happened? Make a change here. Should be draw. Oh, cause I did that. Search and replace. Okay, so let's see. Beautiful. There you go. So now it's working. Let's try dark mode. Looking good. There you go. With very minimal effort, we're able to create a drawer just by taking one from the material UI. Alright, and the other thing is, so I'm gonna bring this back. I want to change these so to maybe make it look, because they're just repeating the same icon as you. So what we can do is we can change that. So I already got the icons from, I showed you guys how to get the icons from the material UI thingy, and I am gonna get those. So let's see. So if I come here, right where the other icon is, so I don't know if I have, yeah, so this one's repeated, so I don't need it. And what else? I have that, so that's repeated. We're gonna get rid of this one, or whichever. Inbox is repeated, so we're gonna get rid of that. How about mail icon? And we don't need this one. Alright, and the other thing is the text snippet icon. Alright, so now I'm gonna save it. Hopefully no errors, and we can see. So let's see how we can now change this. So let's say you have a menu. Of course you're gonna have a different menu, but how you can change it to your own taste. Alright, so the first thing is you maximize this, and let me see where does this end. So this is right here, so I'm going to take this and get rid of that. Okay, and then I'm going to get rid of this index thingy because we don't have that loop. And what else can I get rid of? Let's see if I can organize this a bit. Alright, so I don't need a key because I'm not mapping over it, so we'll get rid of that as well. And what else can we do? Display block, so list item, I don't need the minimum height, we're just going to leave this as is. And then they have some padding, you can keep it, but I don't need it. So let's bring this over to next line. Alright, and let's see, so we have this list item icon, minimum width of 0, justify content center, we'll leave that. Whoop, that thing jumped. Alright, so for the primary, what I'll do is, let's say the first one is my inbox, so I'll say inbox like so, and I'm gonna, man, I keep hitting that home button. I'm gonna bring this here. Let's see, bring this here so it just looks a little bit more organized. And then under here is I'm going to put my inbox icon like so. So let's see what that did. Let's save it. There we go. So we just got one inbox icon. So now all you have to do is take, let's even simplify this a bit further, just formatting, nothing fancy. So I can now take this list item, copy it, and duplicate it, and then we can add the next one. So the next one will be payments. Alright, and that will be the money. I think it was payment, or no, I forgot. I think it's called attach money icon. There you go. Attach money icon. That's the next one. So let's see. There you go. Beautiful. And then I'm going to take this. See if we can duplicate it. I'll just do it 2 times. And this will be analytics. Alright, and then this will be reports. Alright, and then this will be text snippet icon, and this will be assessment icon. I think I don't have this icon. I need to bring this over. So let's bring this. We'll bring it with the other icons. There we go. I'm not using the mail icon, so I'll get rid of that. And let's save it. Let's take a gander. There you go. So how easily, and if you have React router, then you can easily connect them. You might do this in a future video, but there you go. You have a nice drawer. Now the other problem that I see is if I go small screen, you can see it's still showing. So what I would like to have happen is I want this to hide on small screens. So very easy to do. All we have to do is go to the close mixin, and let's see. So this is on bigger screens. On small screens, all I have to do is I'm just going to push this 100 pixels out, and there you go. So now if I go big screen, voila, very quickly. So, yeah, so if you know what the code is doing, then you can just very easily modify it. There you go. So that's your mobile, that's your tablet, it's your desktop, and it still works. Looks good. And let's go here, mobile, and pushes the content. I like that. Anyway, so that'll wrap up the app drawer, and now we're gonna move on to adding the main stuff. Alright, let's add the main component where we can add all the cards and all. So let's go and close the app drawer. We don't need it. I'm gonna come to my components. I'll add a new file. I'm just gonna call it main.js, and then we can add stuff here. So let's see, export default function. Let's call it main. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Main. I like it so. Alright, and then what I will do is I'll say return for starters. So I'll say I'll have a main container. So I'll create it. Well, I'll define it here, and then we can do whatever we have to do to it. So I'll say component, component is main. Alright, and let's just come here and add this. So it's gonna be very simple. All I'll do is I'll say const in container equal to styled. Okay, and it keeps bringing from emotion. I don't know why. Would be muy material styles actually. Alright, so then what I will do is I'm gonna inherit from a box, and then what it will need is it will need a theme, and then we also need to pass in the status of whether the drawer is open or not, and this is so that we can push the stuff in a nice smooth way. So that's the only reason. Alright, so what do we do here? Well, we're gonna have some margin left, and we can say margin left. Let's see. Alright, so I'm having some issues here. Let's figure out why is that happening, and I wonder that's because the function is not right. Alright, so what I will have is a margin left, okay, and this will be drawer width. Now what's drawer width? Well, that should be in the app drawer. So let's see, here we go. I'm going to export this, and then I can come here and let's see if let's try this again. Drawer width, there we go. So that's gonna bring it from there. Alright, and then I'm just gonna tell it that don't wrap it, like the white space, no wrap. Okay, so now what we do is we need to have that open mixin and close mixin kind of deal that we did. Where did we do it? I think we did right here. So I'll do the same thing. I will copy this open mixin and close mixin, and the idea is to push the main stuff to the right as this open and closes. Alright, so what we can do, we can pretty much follow the same what Material UI sample gave to us. So I'll say on open, okay, and like so, and then we're gonna have one is not open, okay, like that. Alright, so what do we do when we are open? Well, we can say opened mixin, and we're gonna pass in our theme, and then we're gonna target this class, which is the muy drawer paper, and we can say opened mixin, and we pass in the theme like so. And then what do we do for the close mixin? Well, all we have to do is basically copy this, and we have to call the closed mixin, and same here, close mixin. Alright, so that should take care of that. And then the other thing is we need to change this a bit, because it was when we were dealing with the drawer, we were taking care of the width, but now it's going to be the margin for the main component. So instead of width, I'm going to say margin, like so. The rest will remain the same, and then even here I'll say margin, like that. And if you guys remember here, I did the minus 100 because I want to push that thing off screen, but here I don't need that, so I'll leave it as is. And I think that should be it, and that should be my main container. And let's come here and now add a box, like so. Okay, and let's put a title. So I'll say h1, say welcome to crypto dashboard. Alright, so we're not seeing anything because we're probably not using it. Yeah, that's right. So I'll come here and say main, see if it brings it. Yes, let's save it. Nice, got a lot of errors, so let's go and figure out what's going on. Export default. Alright, so if I come here to main, what's going on? So this should be like that. Yeah, here you go, that worked. Okay, so we're not seeing our very weird. Everything is worth my box. Oh, it's here. Okay. Okay, so we're not seeing the so let's go inspect. No errors. Let me refresh. No errors. And I'm gonna come here, and because I know it should be somewhere here, so oh, I think it is here. Oh, but it's like, okay, so let's go figure out what they have done. Material UI, how are they able to see their stuff, like this stuff right here. Okay, so what they have is, okay, so they have Appbar, so we have that in a separate file. Then we have a drawer, and then so there's a drawer header. Okay, but we also have a drawer header, so I'm gonna go to my app drawer. Yeah, we have a drawer header. What else do we need? Drawer header. Okay, so they're saying something necessary for content to be below Appbar. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we have a drawer header, and we have that here. So why is it not doing what it's supposed to do? So, okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this drawer header. Alright, so what I can do is, since they have this drawer header, so let's see if I can come here, and I'm gonna say export const. I'm gonna export this out, and I'm gonna go to my main stuff. I'm gonna bring this, and let's see if I can just drawer header. Wow, nice. Alright, so that my friends fixes that for us. Now what's the other problem we're having? Okay, so now the main component is like the width is what, only 64 pixels. I don't know why. Alright, so let's go figure this out. So I think, it's probably something here. Alright, so yeah, so the thing is, like, we're targeting only the margin property, and here we are doing the width. So I think we need to change that a bit. So what I will do is I will change this instead to margin left, and then the same thing, margin left. Let's see. Oh yes, that does it. Alright, now the other problem is, let's see. Alright, the other problem is not pushing the stuff with it. It should be pushing this to the right, but it looks like it's going over it. So that's something else we need to fix now. We're not passing the, oh yes, so we need to come here and we need to do const state is equal to use Appstate. That's because we have to tell it that the drawers open or close, right? So that's why I'll say open is equal to state drawer, and let's see. Oh yes, that's what I'm talking about. So let's see. Now the problem is that when we open, it messes up the, that's why. So it should be margin left. Let's save it and see what happens. That's beautiful. I like it. Let's see, any errors. Refresh. No errors. Beautiful. Alright, so there you go. That was a bit of a work. So anyway, but that, I just want to show you guys how to debug these errors. Alright, so I'm going to minimize this. We're done with that. The other thing I'll do is maybe change this a bit. So what I'll do is I'll put a typography on this. Typography. Okay, that changes that. So let's fix it. And we can just quickly come here and do it with SX. So let's change the font family. Alright, I'll say play. Alright, and if not, then just do sans serif. Let's see. Oh, I have to use. There you go, that changes that. Let's do font size of 1.5 rem. Alright, getting there. Line height 0.5. Alright, something happened. Alright, and what else? Alright, so on small screens, sorry, on big screens, I want this to be a bit bigger. So theme.breakpoints.up small. This is another way of targeting stuff based on I guess screen size. 25 rem. Alright, now theme is not defined, so we need to bring in the theme. So it's a const theme is equal to use theme, like so. Alright, that works. So if I go small screen, what happens? There you go. Alright, and then what else do we do? I need to say line height for big screens 125. Okay, there you go. And letter spacing 0.005. Nice. Alright, so if I go mobile, let me close this. If I go mobile, then this is what happens. Alright, so I guess on mobile, well, once we add more stuff, this is gonna fix itself. Or let's see. I mean, that fixed it too. And then on big screens, you get this. So pretty cool, and then we can shift it. Alright, so we're done with that. And then what we can do is now start adding the stuff below it. So I'll come here, and then we can use the new grid 2, right, from Material UI, and you guys see how that is used. Now grid 2, I thought it'll bring it, but it didn't. So we can manually bring it. So I'll say grid 2 from Material UI unstable blah blah blah, and there you go. Alright, so we're gonna add that background image. I'm gonna come here, and in my public I can create a new folder. We'll call it images. Alright, and I'm just gonna drag it here from my file. So that's the image. I had to compress it. You guys can get any image you want. Alright, and then I'm gonna close this. Alright, so what do we do? I'm gonna come here, and right where I have this I guess the header title, right before that, what I'll do is I'll create a box, right, and then I will put this typography within it because I want the text to go on top of the image. Alright, so what do we do with this box? Well, we can add some SX. Alright, so I'll say background. Alright, so it'll be URL, and it should be .images and bg.jpg, like so. And of course we need to close this. What am I doing? Like so. Let's see if that works. Alright, that works, but it looked weird, so we can do some box shadow trick thingy. Let's say box shadow, let's say inset 0 0. I have to play around with this. 50 pixel RGBA, 0.8. Okay, and then let's give it some padding. There we go. And let's fix the background position. I want to see those dots, so I'm going to say right 0 pixel and bottom 800 pixel. There we go. Now we're talking. And finally the color, we'll say colors. These are our colors. Dot white. Beautiful. Alright, so let's see. There we go. And then you can do that. And works on mobile and desktop. Oh, one thing I see in mobile that there's a space. So maybe because of this, so this will work. Yay, that works. So let's see now. Alright, and let's see, there we go, that works too. Cool. Alright, so that works, and now we can move on to adding. I'm gonna minimize this. We can add the rest of the stuff. Okay, so I'll come here for the grid. So this is my container. So I'll say container, and we'll do justify content space evenly, like that, and then I'll do align items equal to center. Whoa, and then just give it some padding of 1. Alright, so we're not going to see anything because we haven't added anything, but we'll add that. So on extra small I want 12, and on medium and above I want this to take a space of 3 columns. Alright, so what do we put inside? Well, we're gonna put those cards. So let's create those cards. So if I come here and our components, and I'll say app card, like so, .js, and then I can say export default function. We can create one and then we can use it for the others. Alright, so let's first of all pick up the state, like so, and then we also need to fix this. Alright, so what do we do with this? Well, we can say return card. So that's for material UI card, and I want it to be raised, and then I'm going to say sx is equal to max height 300 and border radius of 2 pixel and margin of 1. And now before I do that, I would like to bring in these other images so that I have for these bitcoins. So I'm gonna bring them right here. So I'll say like that. Alright, so I need to add a card header. So what I'll do is I'll come here and I'll say card header. Let me close this. It's a self-closing tag, and then I'm gonna add an avatar. Right, so what will be the avatar? We will say avatar, and then source is equal to, let's say like so, images, and then the avatar. Now you must be asking, well, what is avatar? That's what we pass in, like so. Alright, so that should take care of that. Of course we need to close this, like so, and that. I want to save it now. So we should start using this so we can see some action. So if I go back to my main JS, I can say app card, and let's say avatar. Yep, that's the one. And I can say Bitcoin. Alright, so this should be .png. That's because if I come here, look at my images, that's the one I passed. So I need to do that. Alright, so the card is coming. That's great. What else can we do with it? So while we're here, we can go back and we need to pass in a couple more stuff. So I need to pass in title, which should be Bitcoin. Okay, sub header. So this should be the price. So for this one, I'll just anyways put whatever 99, and then the trend, if it's going up or down, that's what it is. Let's say 0.005. Let's say minus 0.005, and then trend direction. So I'll say up or down, doesn't matter. And then we need to pass in the data, and this is the data that we'll be using to draw the Apex chart. So I'm gonna take it from my notes and just paste it here. I need to type it. Alright, and then we're gonna give it a background color. So I'll say colors .bitcoin. There we go. Alright, so now we need to start using all of this. So I'm gonna go to my app card and let's see how we can use it. Right, so let's come here and start using these. So let's say title, and then sub header, trend direction, and then data and background, like that. And then we can come here and use these. So let's say avatar. So I got my card header, I got my avatar. The other thing I'm going to do is say title. Okay, and then we can set typography like that, and then we can say variant of H6, and then we'll say font family, and I'll say play. If not, then just take sans serif. And what do we put inside? Well, we put inside the title. Okay, definitely there's some errors, so let's fix it. Alright, so typography, I need to close this properly. So I'll say typography typography. Alright, I'm gonna bring this on next line. It looks like I messed up my curlies, so this should, and I think I already have, I don't have, oh okay, I don't need this because this is a self-closing tag. Oh, there you go. So that came in nice. Alright, and then I need a sub header. Alright, so what do we put in a sub header? Well, we're gonna put a box, and it's gonna have a display of flex, and we'll say justify content equal to space between. Alright, and then here we can just put the subheader that we are passing in. Okay, box not defined, so we're gonna come here and add it. Yay, there you go. That's our the price that came in. Alright, so now what do? We need to add that trending thing right here. So that's why I'm doing a display of flex. Alright, so what do? We can come here and I can say box display flex again, but at this time I'll say align items. Let's say center. Okay, and what do we put inside? We say typography. Say variant equal to subtitle, and inside of here I'm going to put trend. So there you go, that's your trending thingy going on. And now, so now depending on your trend direction, we're gonna put the right arrow. So I'll say I can say trend direction. Okay, if it is down, right, then we do one thing, otherwise we do other. So I'll say trend. So I'm gonna get the two icons, which is the trend up and trend down. You can get that from Material UI. Alright, so if it's down, then what do we do? Well, we come here and we say trending down icon, right? Whoa. Otherwise, it's a trending up icon, like so. Okay, so we got beautiful errors. And why is that? Let's see, I don't need this actually. Alright, so now as you can see, it should be positive, well, green or red, positive or negative. So we need to fix that. So for trending down, I can say color is colors dot danger. Okay, I need to bring in my colors. Colors dot danger. Okay, and for this one, I'll say color dot success. Nice, that works. Alright, I think I need to give it a bit of margin because too close to the margin left of one. There you go, that works. So now let's see what happens. Alright, so when we add more cards, then they're gonna spread out nicely. But there you go. So this is our first card. So what happens if I go dark mode? Oh, there you go. So by default you get pretty nice colors for Material UI. Beautiful. Alright, so we're gonna add the chart now that we're talking about, which is the card content. So where do we add that? We can add that here. So I can say card content. Okay, and what do we do here? I can say SX. So this is like a one-time painful thing we gotta go through, and the rest will just follow, because we can just copy and paste and use the same thing. Alright, so I'm gonna give it some padding. There you go. And then I can target this class, which is MUI card content root. And then I'm going to say padding bottom of 0. I don't want any padding on the bottom side. That fixes that. So, well, what do we put inside of the card content? So we need to put a chart inside of it. Let's say chart, and let's give it a height of 200 pixels. So let's see what that gives us. Chart is not defined. Alright, so I'm going to come here and I'll say import chart from React Apex. But I installed that. Alright, so probably we didn't. So let's go say React Apex charts installation. Here we go. npm install. Alright, so we're gonna copy this, and I think we installed, I thought I installed it. Oh, we installed just Apex charts. Okay, so we need to install React Apex charts. I think that's what it is. Alright. Okay, with that done, then I can come here and let's try this again. Import chart from React. There we go. That is working. Let's save it. Cool. You got errors. Alright, so we're gonna pass in some data. So we need to give it some options and the other stuff. So for now, I'll just type is equal to line. It's gonna be a line chart. And why this thing went blank on me? the prop series. Okay, there you go. So we need to pass in a series, we need to pass in options and all that. So what if you go on their thing, there's a lot of documentation. So there's all these options that we can define. So we need to kind of define those here. So what we need is options, okay, and we need some data. Alright, so we need these two things. Let's see if I go here. Yeah, it's empty. For that, I'm gonna come here and I will do const chart options, set chart options, and this is going to be a state. Alright, and what do we pass in? Well, we need to create these Apex chart options. So what we can do is I can come here out of my component and I'll say new file, and let's say apex chart options.js, and I'm not going to type them. I'll just take them because I basically just went ahead on their website and kind of followed through. So for example, I don't know, let's say I want to see the chart. I click on chart and then you see all these animations. So I want drop shadow, and then here you can see enable false, enable true. So that's all I did, just went through and followed their examples. So that's that. So I'm going to save it. So then I can come here and I can say apex chart options like so, and we need to give it the data, a background, and the theme. So the data is coming, so I'll say data, background, and state dot theme. So based on the light or dark theme, we can change the color. So let's save it. Alright, and now we need to supply it somewhere. So options, I can say chart options dot just options actually, and then we need to give it data. So I can say chart options dot series, and let's see. Oh yes, that's what I'm talking about. There you go, got your nice chart and basically all the options. The other thing I was telling about is, see, I'm passing the theme. So if it's dark, I use the background. If otherwise, we just use black. Let's try it. If I go this, one thing I see is I'm passing in to the Apex chart. I'm passing in the theme, and it's supposed to be changing these colors, but it's not. So you kind of have to reload it if the options change, and for that we can do a use effect. Okay, and I can come in here. So what I can say is every time the theme changes, we set chart options to basically this, and you can use this to load data from a server in case you have it. Alright, so let's say there you go. Now you can see based on the theme, the color changes. That's pretty sweet. Alright, so now that we have that, then we can come here and start just basically copy and pasting this, and we will get a bunch of charts. So I'll add the next one, and I can just copy and paste these 3 more times. As you can see, I got that. So the first one is Bitcoin, the next one is Ethereum. Did I get this right? ETH. Oh, it's E. Yeah. And we can say ETHEREUM. You can change this to whatever you want, and I don't know, we can change this number to whatever you want to do. Transaction, let's say down. Alright, and this one TH, we have to refresh. There you go. Alright, the other thing is I might just have to change this data. So say 10, 20, so 30. And what else? So let's say 75, just so that we get some variation like that. So let's refresh. There you go. So this one is different. So let me just make quickly the other changes. Alright, there you have it. So now we added all the charts and they look fantastic. And they're responsive. So as you can see, with the screen sizes they change, and if I minimize this, they're gonna stack, 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 and stack. Pretty neat. Alright, so that concludes the app card, and we're gonna move on to the next stuff. Alright, so now we can create the charts after that, which is the I guess the stock chart. So for that we'll do the same thing, grid 2, like so, and then we're gonna have grid, and this will be the item. So I'm gonna have pretty much the same kind of deal. So I'll copy this and just paste it here and get rid of that. Alright, so it should be a container, spaced evenly, and the one thing I'll add is column spacing. Alright, I'm gonna have it 2, and for the padding I'm gonna have 1, and then I'll say max width of 100%. Want it to take as much space as it can, well, the entire space basically. Alright, and then we need 2 grid items, grid 2, and thing is on small it's gonna be 12, on medium I want to take 8. Okay, and I'm gonna duplicate this, and this one I'm gonna have a space of 4 because this is like the pie chart. Alright, so let's create the stock chart thing. So I'll come here and I'll create a new file, and we'll say BTC Bitcoin stock.js, and let's come here and say export default excuse me, function BTC stock. Alright, like so. Alright, and so the first thing we do is we get a hold of the state. And that should be use Appstate. Okay. Alright, so we need to create the Apex BTC stock chart options. So I'm gonna so this is the one. So this is the one we created for the this chart. I'm gonna copy this, and we can utilize this for this other one. So I'll call it Apex. So BTC stock chart.js. And let's minimize it. So I'll just copy it, and this is basically the same thing as I said. I went ahead on the website, looked at the different options. So I want to have a drop shadow, and then again same with the theme. And for x-axis I have a label for, and then I want to show the border, I want to show the text. And so look through the code and it will understand. I don't want to write this and explain to you. Pretty much it's just me regurgitating all this here, so it's just a waste of time. Alright, so then I'm gonna come here and I can say here cons, let's say chart, the same kind of deal, chart options, set chart options, use state, and then we can say Apex BTC chart options. Okay, and this time we're just going to pass in the data. So we're going to pass in the data points. I have some data points that I will just stick in here, and then I can say colors, the primary color, and say state.theme when we change the theme. So that's that. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and use this actually. So we can say what do we call it? BTC stock chart. Save it, see what happens. Nothing at this point because we haven't added the chart yet. And then we can also do use effect, so that when you change the theme, you want to the chart to update itself. The state theme, and we basically do set chart options, and I can literally copy this and paste it. Okay, like that. And finally I can return something from here, so it will be a card that is raised. Okay, and I have a card header. Alright, and I'm gonna come here and add something to the card header. Well, card header is self-closing, I always forget, so we don't need all of that. So all you need is this. So let's add some SX props, some padding of 4, and there you go. So something appeared. That's that card. Okay, and then we need to give it a title. Whoa. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna put a box. Okay, display of flex. Okay, and justify content. Justify content will be space between. Okay, and then I'm gonna come here and typography variant H6 font family. I think I'm gonna move this on a separate line so we can see. So you can say play and sans serif. Okay, and what do we put here? I'm gonna put BTC and let's say some whatever number. Cool, that comes up here. Alright, so I got the title, everything, and then I need to put the card content. Okay, and I'm gonna give it some SX, so padding of 0, and then again that same class that we did before, movie card content root, let's say padding bottom of 0. Alright, so that's that. And finally I can add the chart. Okay, and for options I can say chart options dot options. Now it didn't bring in the chart, I think, so we need to bring that. So I'll say import chart from React Apex charts. Let's save it and let's see what happened. Okay, there you go, the chart came in, but it doesn't have data. So I'll say series equal to chart options dot series, and type will be line, and height, let's just make it a height of 420. See what happens. So this one should be options dot series. Okay, so there you go. I just had to refresh. I don't know why it crapped out on me, but I just had to refresh, and there you go. So that's your stock chart, and as you can see it's only taking 8 columns, so the other one, the pie chart, is going to come here. So I'm going to come here and let's add the pie chart. So what we can do is I can copy, well, create a new, and I can say btc pie.js. So I'm not going to type this because it's the exact same thing. I'm going to paste it here, and let's save it, and then I'm going to go to the I'll explain it. Just come here to my main, and then in this second grid I can say BTC Pi. Let's save it. Alright, and there you go. So that's your pie chart. Let's refresh, make sure it's good. Beautiful. Alright, let's see, BTC Pi. Alright, so the thing with BTC Pi is very simple. I'm just defining the chart options here. I'm showing you different ways of doing it. So for the others, we just put them separately in the chart options file. But for this one, I'm just putting them right inside the component itself. So you can see how you can define the options. Very simple, labels, and this is responsive. And then same card, I have a header, I have a card content, and then I have the chart. You can see here, it's a donut, that's the height. Alright, so right now we're done with the pie chart. Let's go. Okay, so it looks good in dark mode. Looks good in mobile. And now we're going to add the purchase and those one at the bottom. Alright, moving on. So now let's create that price change table, and we can also add the Bitcoin transfer and purchase thingy. Right, so I'm going to close all of this because we don't need that. So that's going to be right here after this. So I'll say grid 2, and then this will be a container. Actually, let me just copy this because it's pretty much the same deal, like that. Alrighty. Alright, so center spacing of 2 and that. So this is gonna be a grid 2. Okay, so extra small, I want it to take 12, pretty much the entire thingy, and then on medium and above it's gonna be 8. Alright, and then the next one I have a grid 2, same thing, 12. With grid, it's very easy to put things around. It's just so easy. Alright, so in this one I'm gonna put a box with a display of flex, and we'll say flex direction one to be one on top of each other. Okay, like so. And then within this we'll put your stuff. Alright, so in this one I want to put the price change table. So let's come here, components, new file, let's say price table.js, and let's get cracking at it. So this is where we'll be using the material UI table, and let's say export. Alright, so we're gonna create the rows first. So we will say well, let's create a table. So we'll say return, and let's create a card raised, and let's give it a minimum height of 600. Okay, and let's create a card header, margin bottom of 4, and then we're going to give it a title. It's going to be typography. Okay, and what do we put inside? Well, let's just first do a variant of H6, H5, and let's do a color of, for fun, secondary. Okay, and we're going to text a line of center, and then we can do font family, same thing, play or sans serif. Okay, and within that we want to put price change. So let's see what happened. Card header needs to be closed. Alright, so nothing is coming. That's because we need to see price change table. So let's see. Oh, errors. Okay, so card is not defined. Card header is not defined. Alright, so let's refresh. And there you go. So that's your price change table. That's coming. And then we can add the rest of the stuff. Let's add the card content now. Card content. Alright, within this we can put a table container like so. Okay, and the component I want to use for this is a paper. Alright, and paper is not defined because we need to bring it. Alright, so now we need to give some data to the thing, but before we do that, let's define the rows and all. So, you know, so what I can do is I can say within the table container, I can say table. Okay, and then you do table head, and then table row, like so, and finally table cell. Kind of like drill down, and then I can say typography, okay, SX equal to color, and I prefer colors dot muted. Okay, and this will be type. So let's see, beautiful. Alright, so I can now copy and paste this however many times do I want. So this one will be change, and this one is going to be well, let's change also. So there you go. So you got that, and then what I can do is after that, let me actually copy this again. We can do one for high, one for low. So how do we do this? Well, I want to have icons beside it, like up and down, just to add some, I don't know, style to it, you can say. So here what I will do is I will come here within the table cell and we'll create a box with a display of, I don't think didn't bring box. We'll say box display of flex, and we'll say justify, whoa, let's say center. Okay, and let's bring this here. I'm going to save it, and let's bring this here a little bit so we can see. Now I want to have arrow up and arrow down, so I got this from Material UI, and I can then paste it here. Alright, and so right here where I have this, the change, so I can say hi. Okay, so that should change that, and then right after that I can put my arrow drop up icon like so. So that's that. So now the color is applied to only this, so maybe I can take it from here and I can maybe give it to the whole cell. Alright, and maybe we can what we can do is we can say success. Nice. Alright, so actually I can take this, copy it, and then paste, and I can say low, and here we can say danger, and one thing I need to do is arrow drop down icon. There you go. So that works. So let's maximize to see what happens. Cool. That's what the paper does. You see how it gives that nice elevation. So that's why I like the paper. And let's try dark mode and see what we get. Pretty nice. That looks very good actually. Alright, so what do we do after that? Well, now we need to have the body. Okay, so table cell, table head. Right after the table head, we can say table body. Alright, so now we need to create some rows so we can map over them and blah blah blah. So the way we're going to do this is we can create a function. We can say create data, okay, and change amount, okay, we can say change percent high and low. And what does it return? Well, it just returns an object name. Change, you know what, I'm gonna have this all lower actually. There we go. So there, so that's that. And then we can say const rows like that. We can say create data, and say Bitcoin, and then the rest I'm just gonna copy and paste because I want to repeat myself. So we're basically creating these let me get rid of that. Alright, so we're basically creating all these different rows in real app, or in future we will add this to connect this to a backend so we can pull this from a live server. But for now, of course, you want to always test with fake data. Alright, so now that I have the rows, so what I can say is rows, there you go, dot map. So for each row, what do we do? Well, we say table row, like that, okay. And don't forget to give it that key, so the key will be row dot name because that's unique. And the other thing I want is an SX, and so I'll leave that for now. Let's populate this. So it's a table cell, okay, its component is a table header, and the scope is row. Alright, and what do we put inside? Well, let's just say row.name, and very nice, you get that. Alright, so I can just copy and paste this. 1 2 3 4. Let's see, so you got all that. So of course for the others I don't want the actually, you know what, I should have done it the smart way. I don't need this, right? So I'm gonna remove that. But what I do want is I want to give it an align of center, and this one I want to have a change amount. Of course we're gonna put a $sign, so that's what we get. And let's see if I can bring this like this. Alright, so we get that, and now if I come here and change percent, this is high, this is low, so this will be low, this will be high, and this is change percent. Nice. And for the percent, I don't think so I need the $sign, so let's see. Cool. Alright, so let's see if I do dark, that's what you get. I think I need to shift these because they are in the center but these guys are not, so I need to shift this. So what we can do is I can take, let's go down. Alright, so I can take this align center, and let's see if I don't know, put it on this one. Well, I'm going to leave type, I'm going to put it on this one. So there you go, that shifts that. And how about this one? How about this one? I think that should do it. So now these are nice and centered, and let's expand it. Beautiful. So everything is nice and aligned, like in this. Alright, so now that we have that, then we're done with the table actually. So if I come here and let's see. Okay, I have a nice dark mode and light mode. So now the next thing is we need to add those stuff on the right. Alright, so I'm going to minimize this so we can have some space, like so, and let me just bring in this here. Alright, so I'm going to scroll down. Alright, and I am going to create a new component, and let's just call it Bitcoin purchase.js, and we'll get cracking. Alright, let's minimize this. So what we want to do first is bring in our state like we have been doing. Alright, and then we will return something. That something will be a card raised, and then some margin bottom of 4. Just for alignment purposes, I had to play around with it. So, and then we have a card header. Okay, the title will be like we did before. Typography variant is H5. Color is secondary, and we'll do text align, center, and font family play and sans serif. Alright, and we can just put buy Bitcoin. This should be in between here, like so. Alright, and then I need to close the card header, so I can do like this, save it, and then I'm gonna go to my main.js, and we can actually plug this in. So this should be buy Bitcoin or purchase. Alright, I don't know what I called it. Let's see. Bitcoin purchase. There you go. Purchase. Card was not defined, line number 10. Okay. That's not a problem. So we can define it. And there you go. So it brought that in. And let's continue adding stuff to it. So we can then come here after the card, and I can do card content. Alright, and SX, we'll add SX. So I want to change the background based on the theme. So I'll say state.theme equals light. If it's light, then we do colors dot white, otherwise colors dot dark. Okay, so that's just that. Now what do we put inside here? So I'm going to start with my grid 2, and this is the container. Now, I don't know if it brought this in. It never brings it in. Grid 2, there we go. Alrighty, so I want to save it. There you go, something happened. And what we want to do is I'm going to say grid 2, so that's the item, and then on extra small I want it to have, just take the full space. On small I want it to take 6 columns. Alright, and then I'm going to do a box, box. Alright, display of flex. And what do we do? Alright, so I'm going to put a text field inside of it. Okay, and I will some bunch of props to this. So these are the classes that we can target for the text field. So let me just show you how. If I right click, I do inspect, and as you can see the MUI input, let's see, MUI outline input. So these are the kind of classes that we'll be targeting, the outline input. Alright, so what I can do is I can come here to the SX and we can start playing around with this. So I can say end dot MUI outlined input dash root. Alright, and then I can say and field set. Okay, so I'll say border color. I want to change the border color, so colors dot primary. Okay, and there you go, the border color change. And I want to change the border radius 50. Voila. So this is how you can modify the text field that comes Material UI to something completely different. Alright, so with that, then I can come here and then I can say end dot MUI form helper text. Now this is the helper text that we will display at the bottom, so I'm changing that. We'll add it in a second, so you will see. Font size 0.65 rem. You know what, let me add that text so I can show you what I'm talking about. So the label is, I'll say payment. Alright, and then we can say helper text. So this would be like, you know, Bitcoin amount. So that's the one I was targeting. So if I come here, let's say I change this to 1, there you go, it's nice and big. So pretty cool actually how you can target these things. And then the color, I'm gonna make it muted so that it's not in our face. I mean, didn't do much, but what the heck. Oh, because of this. There you go, that's muted. Alright, and finally a variant. I'm gonna say outline, it's already outlined, and size, we'll make it small. Aha, I like this. So I think it looks pretty nice, decent. Alright, and then what I want to have is a select on the right, so we can select the different Bitcoin. So what I'm thinking is we can create that as a separate component, and then we can use it here because we'll be using it again, so it's better to just make one. So Bitcoin select. Every time you're finding yourself creating something over and over, I would say just split it into a separate component. Bitcoin select. Alright, and let's just quickly do a return. And so I'm going to copy this from my notes because this is very simple, but of course I will explain everything. And let me do the imports. Alright, so what I have is the form control and just have some SX props on it. You've seen this by now. And then the select statement. The default value is Bitcoin, so that means select the first one, and then same thing. I'm targeting the MUI input base class, and I'm saying they have this before thingy pseudo class, and I'm just removing the border. So I'll show you what that does. And then simply these are just different menu options. Alright, so I can come here and start using it. Okay, so I can come here and I can say then Bitcoin select. Let's save it, and there you go. So your different Bitcoin. So what I was saying is this border none. So let's say if I remove this now, you will see what I mean. See that border? That's what it does. That's all I'm doing. So that's that. And then now the other thing we have to do is we should create also, so let's say you're buying Bitcoin, so you want to have maybe a currency, in which currency you want to do it. So same kind of deal. Let's come here. I'm going to take this, copy this, and we can paste it right after this. Alright, so we have that. So for this one, what I can say is label is amount, and let's just put some helper. I said 1000, everything's same, so there you go. And then for this one, I want to have a different currencies that I can pull from. So for that, we'll come here, same thing, we'll say currency select.js, and this is the same kind of deal that we did before. So I'm going to copy this and paste. So same deal, I just have that form control, and the only thing difference is I'm just using these different currencies. Alright, so instead of this I can say currency select. Okay, what happened? Let's see if I come here, currency select, so that's good. Okay. Like that. Good. Okay, so we're getting that. Alright, and then finally we need to add a button so that we can buy this thing. So right after this one and right before the cart content, I can say box. Let's add some SX, padding of 2, margin top of 4. Alright, let's add a button. Alright, and we can say buy now. Okay, let's see what happened. Alright, so that's ugly. Let's change this a lot. Okay, so font family, I'm gonna get the same font family. I don't want to copy this again and again. Alright, so I'll say font family. I'm gonna get rid of that because we are inside the SX, so that changed. Alright, and padding of 2, and I think I want to change the variant first, otherwise we won't see the changes. So you want to do contain. Yep, there you go. Alright, so let's do border radius of 50, nice and rounded, and width of 100%. I want it to span the entire space. Okay, and then I need some box shadow. Of course I'm not going to type this, it's just experimenting with different values. So let's see, bing. Okay, and then finally background. So the background I chose is a linear gradient. I went online and just found a okay, I need a comma here. So yeah, I went online and all I did was linear gradient CSS generator, and you come here and there you go. So you can generate yourself whatever gradient you want. So that's why I don't want to type this, it's just useless. So there you go, you got a nice button, and the thing is, this thing is responsive. So let's say, there you go, it goes to next screen. Nice. Alright, so now we're going to follow the same kind of deal and create the transfer, Bitcoin transfer. So let me come here, create a new thingy. I'll say Bitcoin .js. Okay, and I can say export default function Bitcoin transfer. And so this is pretty much the same exact thing that we did. Honestly, just it's not different at all. State Appstate. Okay, and then I'm going to return card raised. All right, and card header. Whoa. Alright, so I'm going to have to minimize this. So I'm going to take it from the other one, the one we did before. So this one was purchase. No need to, I guess, rewrite it. So I'm going to title this. Actually, I could take this card header into a separate component. Then we could use it. Typography. Alright, so this one will be Bitcoin transfer. Okay. There we go. Alright, we're not seeing anything because we're not using anything, so maybe we should do it. So I'll say Bitcoin transfer. Like so, and there you go. You have it. Alright, and then after that, I have card content. Alright, so same kind of deal. I'm gonna come here from the purchase, take it and put it right here on the card content. Now of course we need to bring in the colors, so I will do that. Whoa. Okay, let's bring in the colors. Alright, so what happens is, see, with the light and dark theme, I'm changing this, otherwise it doesn't happen. It looks very good on dark mode actually. The colors really pop out. Alright, and so the card content, same deal. We're going to have a form control and everything. So what I will do is I will take from here and let's just put it here. I need to bring in the grid 2. Actually I need to bring these two. Whoa. Okay, form control is not defined. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take that from, let's see, form control. Can't add it here. So Bitcoin transfer, there you go. Form control, that takes care of that. Text field. Okay, what else? Bitcoin select and Bitcoin transfer. Alright, so I can Bitcoin select, so I can take that from here and add it here. Alright, and button. Last but not least, and let's see what we get. There you go. So it's the same thing. I have form control, I have a text field, I'm targeting the same thing. I could actually take this, put it into a separate component that we can use it across the app if your team follows the same kind of deal. And then I have basically, you know, wallet from, and then this is the second control, I mean the text input, wallet to, and then a helper text, and finally same thing, I have just this button which says transfer now. So pretty neat. There you go. So you could take this, let's say the button, put into a separate component, pass this as a prop, and then you will just use it once. And then here I'm having these different buttons. So let's see, there you go. So now it looks like this on big screens, and then when you go small screens it looks like that, and of course you get a nice dark mode. I think that's pretty neat. Alright, so now we're going to create the ticker element. Okay, so now that we have this kind of fancy crypto dashboard, and see how can we go about doing that. So let me minimize this. Alright, so I will come here inside my components and we will create a new file. Alright, what do we do here? We minimize this. So I'll say export default. Alright, so let's return a box from this, bring it in. Alright, so let me just close the box. Alright, so we're going to give it some SX props and we'll say overflow of none, hidden actually. The reason is when these things scroll off of the screen, then the document is going to try to have a scroll bar, so we want to prevent that. So, and then the other thing is I want to have this a position of relative, just because the children will be absolute. And finally, let's just give it some height of 60 pixel. Alright, now before we go further, let's use it. So I will come here to my main.js and we can use it here. If I go up, so this will go right below the our header. So I'll say exchange rate ticker. Let's see. There you go. So it's going to be in this kind of area. So I can close this and we can move on to here. Alright, so what happens is I will need, as I said, ticker elements. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to create a ticker element. So I can come here and I can say ticker export con. Alright, so we need to create a I don't know, a style component. So it's a ticker element equal to styled. Now this one is from MUI, right? So let's say div, okay, and what we want to pass is the X position, right, because this thing will be scrolling across the screen, so that's why we're going to pass that. Alright, so as I said, this is going to have a position of absolute. Okay, left will be 0, top will be 0. The only thing that changes is the transform. So it'll be translate, whoa, okay, X pixel. I like it so. And then here I can say ticker element, and then you just I can get the children, so I can say const children is equal to props, right, and I need to do this, okay, and I can say children like that. And don't forget, so the other thing is we need to pass in that X, but we'll do that later when the need comes. Alright, so I can come here now and I can say ticker element like so, and let's put something here, say test, save it. Okay, so we got test, and let's say if I come here and I change this X to 50, there you go, that is moving. And if I say minus 50, it goes out of the screen. So that's the idea. We'll be changing this so that we can move this thing around the screen. Alright, so I think we can go back here to our ticker, the parent component, and start adding stuff to this. So let me add the what do we want to display here, so we can play around with it. I'm going to add a box like so, and let's just make it a display of flex. Okay, and let's just give it some padding of 1. Alright, so and then what I will do is I'll create another box and display of flex direction of column, and padding right of 8. Okay, save it. Alright, and then finally another box we'll say a display of flex. That's it. So by default the flex direction is row. Alright, so I'll say typography, okay, variant H5, and let's say we're just gonna put some number, I don't know, 2, 4, or whatever, 4, 3. Okay, so that's the whole reason I'm doing these different boxes and flexes, so that I want to achieve a certain style. So this one is a variant of caption. Okay, and then we'll just give it some SX. So we'll say colors. We're gonna bring from our color library muted and align self. I want this to have a self-end. Okay, and what do we put? So I'm gonna put Canadian currency. So that's what we did with the align self. And then the other thing I think I should do is a little bit of too tight. Maybe I should do, yeah. Alright, so with that done, and then I can have this other box, and what do we put inside this box? We're gonna put some other typography, and honestly I'm just not gonna type it, it's boring, so we're gonna bring it here. Alright, so now it looks ugly, so we should fix it. Alright, and then since this is positive, maybe it'll be wise for us to add an arrow. So I can say typography again, variant of caption, and I can use a material UI icon. I'll bring in both up and down so we could use them. And where was I? So here I can do arrow upward icon. Let's see what that does. There you go, that's kind of big. So you can say SX font size 1.125 rem. Alright, beautiful. And finally we'll say typography caption. Oh, the variant is caption. So today. There you go. So that looks beautiful. So now I can actually, let me see. I think take this, and so if you have an array, so you can just copy them. So this would be danger, and I create a lot of variants. So, and this should be arrow down. There you go, you got your next item. So I will probably, I don't know, change this to minus just to be different, and I will change this to that and this. There you go. So these are your ticker elements, and now we'll have to move them across the screen. We need to get a reference to this ticker element because we need to see the width of it. So for that, you can come here and say const ticker container ref. You can say use ref. Okay. And then what we can do is on this ticker elements, in this the box is the parent. I can say ref equal to ticker container ref, like so. Alright, and then what we can do is we can come here and say use effect. Okay, and as soon as we get a hold of the ticker container ref, then we actually can set create a state. We can say const, you can say parent rect, set parent rect use state, and let's just initialize it to an empty object. And then what I can do, I can say set parent rect. Okay, and we can say ticker container ref dot current dot get bounding client rect, like so. So let's save it. Yes, you don't do that. There you go. And then we need to pass this to our ticker element. So you can say parent rect is equal to parent rect, like so. Alright, so that should be that. So now I can go to my ticker element and we can start using it. So I can come here and we can get a hold of it here. You can say parent rect. Okay, that should give us that. And then we need a couple of variables, I guess. Right, so we are going from, okay, use ref is not defined, so maybe I should do ref. Alright, we're going from the right side of the screen to the left, but if you were to do the other way, then you would change this to 0 and just basically swap the two if you were to go from left to right. So fairly straightforward. Alright, so once we have the position, then we also need, we'll be using the Windows request animation frame, so we need to get a reference to that. The request animation frame, use ref. We're going to do that, and then we also, since we're modifying the x, translate x, so we can use a state for that. Okay, and we can say parent rect dot width. Okay, like so. And finally we need to keep track of the timestamp, and this will be a ref. Alright, so now here I can come here and I can say x to tx, and they disappeared. That's because they went off screen, because it's the width of the container. Okay, and then also we need to keep track of the child, so we can say const child ref is equal to use ref, lots of refs, and I can say ref, okay, child ref, like so. Well, so the first thing we do is we can come here and use our use effect. Okay. And so as soon as we get a hold of the child ref, right, once that is valid, then we can do something with it. So I can say set position. Okay. And then what I want to do is I can spread the position to whatever it is, but I want to change the to minus child ref dot current dot get bounding client rect dot width. Okay, well, that, and then also we're going to start our the animation frame. So you can say window dot request animation frame. Now it's going to ask you for a function which we need to create, so I'll just call it a step function. And finally, don't forget that on return we can do cancel animation frame, and we need to provide it the reference. Alright, so now of course step is not defined, so we need to define it. So it's a const step is equal to, so this function will be called by this request animation frame, and if you want the animation to happen again and again, you have to keep calling it from within the function. But the first time, every time it gets called, you get the current timestamp since I guess when the session started. So that's that. All right. So so that's that. And now what we do is, oh, by the way, so you saw that I set this to minus the width. If I set this to 0, what will happen is the animation is going to come here, and as soon as the leftmost edge touches here, then it's going to go start again. What I want to have happen is I want this to go beyond the screen and then start over. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay, so now let's see. So we need to come here and we can say that if previous timestamp dot current does not equal to current timestamp. Okay, so it's like prevent it from happening too fast. So we create a local progress variable, and we could say previous timestamp dot current. If we have it, then basically all you do is you say timestamp minus previous timestamp dot current, otherwise 0, right? So if we have the current value, then we take the timestamp minus the previous timestamp, otherwise progress is 0. So I guess 0 will be when you started. And then what we do is progress ref dot current is equal to math.round. Okay, so we need to do a little bit of rounding on this, and we can say progress ref dot current. Okay, what's our progress? Minus progress over 100, and then we can define some speed for this. And then let's see, we can control how fast this animation is happening. So it becomes speed is, let's say, equal to 5.0 or 5, I don't know. Alright, so that will control. So basically what we're saying is if the previous timestamp dot current is not equal to that, means we have a different value. Then we come here, we check the current value. If it's available, then we take the timestamp minus the previous timestamp, because this value will be always higher, right, because you're progressing in time. And then you take the progress divided by 100, and you take it from the current subtracted. Okay, and then finally with that done, then you just do set tx. So we want to move the stuff around the screen. Progress ref dot current, right? So that's the current value. And then of course we need to check if we should recycle this. So if you don't do that, it's going to just keep going forever. So what we can do is we can create a function here, and we can say const should finish or should recycle, whatever you want to call it. And I can say return progress ref dot current is less than position dot to. As long as it's less than the position dot to, then I guess you continue. Alright, well, not continue, sorry. Then you just go back to the start. So we say if should finish, okay, then progress ref dot current is equal to parent rect dot width, right? We set it back to the start. That's what we do. And then finally, don't forget to do dot current timestamp. And finally, this is very important, we want to call this function again if we want this to happen over and over. So step. Okay, so if everything worked well, oh, here you go, you got your tickers. So now let's say this is going. Beautiful. If I don't do this, then let's see what happens. I think I'm gonna have to refresh this. Alright, so that stopped, and let's see why. Receive not a number for the X attribute. Alright, so this is, I found that I'm gonna do, okay, let me uncomment this. I think what I have to do is I have to come here Now to do something like ticker container ref, we want to make sure we have a whole of the reference first, and then we do all this. So and I need to move this in here. Let's see if I refresh. There you go. Now that works. Okay, and let's say if I comment this now. Yeah, that's what I was saying. You see, if you don't do this, then it's just gonna, as soon as it hits this bottom, it's gonna start over. So that's why we do that. So there you go. You got your ticker element, and looks good on desktop. Let's do dark mode. Let's go on dark mode. So let's see, it's gonna go. Oh, okay. I think we need to save this and refresh. And by the way, the other thing is, here's the speed, so I can control. Let's say I make this 20, and then it's going to happen very fast. So I hope you guys liked it. I'm just gonna go check on mobile and see how that is. Yes, very nice. Alright, so I think that will conclude this ticker element, and I hope you guys like this. Please like and subscribe, and bye for now.